Hello and welcome everybody to the Pathcast. I am your host, Sor Eli, aka Bruce Lane, aka Aziz Yunus. First off, big shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. !VPN in the chat, 3 months for free. Also use code Eli for 10% off gfuel.com. All right, episode 1. This is the Pathcast. Let's do this. We got a couple things we need to talk about. First things first. Why are criminals not robbing anything? Lately, the city has been a little stale. You know, cops hop on. There's not really much happening. Criminals usually are RPing with them like other criminals, but people barely have been robbing anything. And mostly, if they rob anything, it's just the jewelry store. We haven't seen Pacific Standard being robbed. We haven't seen Fleeka's being robbed often, or the yacht, Polito here and there, but not much. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts. First of all, I'm going to introduce everybody in the call right now that is going to talk. We have Black Belt, aka Connor. We have Boomer Durag, aka Nikolai. We have Lapu, aka Mano Max. We have Pete. I'm voting Pete. He's the imposter. We have Red Rum, aka Nunzio the Great. Samuel, aka Dr. Bob, RIP, aka Leo Dean. And then we got SOP Andy, aka Animated Gamer. First of all, I'm going to let Connor speak, see what he has to say about the fact that why nobody is robbing anything, and we'll go from there. All right, Connor, good to go.
Alrighty. First of all, thanks everyone for showing up. We really appreciate everyone coming out. There's a few different things that I've been, I'm always thinking about what we can do to better, the crim versus cop RP. And, it's obviously a very gray area because, we don't want to get ourselves into that hole. At the end of the day, we have to remember this is a video game and we're all here to have fun. And sometimes things get taken a little bit too seriously. So I'm trying to figure out, is it more of the cops are being too hard ass? Are we being too strict? Do crims prefer to do the lower risk jobs? I'm not entirely sure. I've started to think that crims just prefer to do the lower risk jobs, such as the drugs, the USBs, the Rolexes, robbing houses, because they're less likely to get caught, right? So I'm starting to think maybe they just care a little bit too much about the money aspect of things and not really the interaction and the RP side of things. So I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to add on to that.
That is a very valid point, I think. I think I'm gonna unmute Sam because he said he wanted to say something about it. So Sam, good to go.
Good day, everyone. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, with a lot of these things, and especially the topics today, it really comes down to people playing themselves instead of a character. So it's RP, it's roleplay, it's essentially acting. When people lose and they get salty about it, it's understandable. But I mean, if you're playing a character, you're not really gonna worry about actually losing in that case. So I feel like a big thing about people not robbing banks and fleekers, all that sort of stuff, is the risk versus reward. But I actually said in one of the chats this morning, at the end of the day, there is no risk. It's reward, because either you get stuff or you get RP.
Fair enough. Valid point. All right, I'm gonna mute Pete. Pete wanted to talk. Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. So for me, Sam just said something about losing. So over the past couple of weeks, a lot of people have been saying the cops have been very win mentality, and that's why they're not robbing stuff, from just what I've heard from my perspective. But if you look at it from a cop side, it acts like you're gonna do house robberies and USB job and just make your money, but you're gonna do it alone. There's really little to no RP in that. You're just gonna make money, be able to buy the fancy cars, but like, where's the RP? You're just, like Sam said, you're just collecting money pretty much at that point. It's RP, you're playing a character. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's win mentality to the criminal side for just doing the USB and the safer criminal stuff and making more money a day, because you could do more of it a day instead of robbing and trying to getting caught and stuff. But
Yeah, that's really valid point too. To me, honestly, it's basically everything you guys just said, and then there's like a couple things more to like reiterate. Yes, I think criminals are not willing to take risks anymore, and it's due to the fact, to me, honestly, is because all the robberies that have been happening recently, I feel like there hasn't really been much effort going into them. Like people just go in, like decide, all right, let's rob the jewelry store today, and they just go there, they get a hostage, they rob it, they hop in their cars, and then they just run. Like there's not really much effort going into it, and that most of the time, if you're doing that, that's gonna be favored towards the cops, because it's so much easier for us to just chase you around until you either crash or we crash. I mean, even though that's fun to like a certain extent, but if it's happening every single day, every single robbery, we're just chasing you, you're going into your car, or you drive somewhere and then you switch cars. That's not really an escape plan, you know? And when you do that, it just makes it so much easier and predictable for us. And then when that happens, we start catching criminals a lot, like way more often. And then you guys get caught, and then you hate it, and then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm getting caught. But if you start putting effort into your escape plans and then how you want to rob stuff and what you do after, it becomes, because listen, like you think us cops are going to be like super win mentality, we're going to catch you every time. But I promise you, if you have any sort of plan, like the minimal effort plan, it will literally go your way most of the time, because we're not going to be ready for a certain plan. So I'm going to let Red talk because he wanted to say something. So Red, go ahead.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Welcome. I'm Nunzi on the server, Red Rum, and what I need to say about robbing stuff is some characters, not all, especially Nunzio, he's building up to bigger things. Like he started small with 24/7s, and he's been moving his way up. He's gone up to what do you call it? The jewelry store, like you're talking about, and the yacht heist, right? And soon he'll be on the fleekers, and then he'll move on to the pack standard. He's kind of building himself up. He's building himself up to fall down, because the only way to go will be down. It's going to be a spectacular fall when it happens. What I will say, why I think there has been less robbing, is because there has been a history of pack standard being scuffed, and it's hard to hit, from what I understand. I've never hit it. But what I do remember is all the tickets and the slash reports coming in, and watching the streams of people trying to hit pack standard and running through all of their fucking blackberries and not being able to get in, blowing up the place but getting caught on fire and dying halfway through, lockpicks breaking on them because they weren't smart enough to take enough with them, whatever it is, however to get in. A lot of the time they try to get in and then ask the cops and threaten the hostage's life to go and get them more stuff to break in. No, that doesn't work. But just a general scuffed nature of that job. And I think that's what initially stopped people from doing pack standard, like initially. And then after it, people found ways to make money elsewhere. So why go back to doing it?
Yeah, that's a really fair point. Connor, if you want to add something to that, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nunzio, you bring up a great point of, there were issues to begin with when it comes to the pack standard, but I think we can, if everyone wants to, we can now shift the conversation as to why we think they aren't robbing these banks right now. We could shift the conversation to what do we have to do as a server to incentivize them robbing the banks more. So Eli, I don't know if you saw your DMs. If you want to show it on stream, if not, it's all good. I sent you the list of the minimum requirements for cops and crims for every job, just so everyone can see it, so I don't have to read through everything, even though it's not really that much. Now,
I'm showing it right now if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I see it. So, is the answer to everyone's issues, do we change the requirements, right? Do we lower the amount of cops that need to be on for the robberies? But I honestly don't think that the cop numbers are the issue, right? I think after the 5 p.m. Eastern restart, I think our cop numbers are great right now. I think cop numbers in a really good spot, but it maybe dropping the requirement is the issue. Maybe we have to make the heist a little bit easier. Maybe packs a little bit too difficult. Maybe we just have to revamp them entirely, change how you rob them to kind of bring something new and more exciting into the city. Maybe we have to up the amount of money you're making. I don't know. That's why, if anyone's in chat right now wants to go ahead and drop their suggestions as to what we need to do, then we'd all be more than willing to hear everyone out.
Yeah, Tanker is suggesting to drop the max cops because 10 cops on Pacific Standard is kind of a lot. And if we have 10 cops, I guarantee it, all 10 cops will show up to the scene. And that is a very valid point. But then again, I feel like if the criminals have a solid escape plan, the 10 cops shouldn't really matter too much unless you are planning to do a shootout, which is completely fine. I'm not against going into a robbery and then planning a shootout, because that makes it fun. If you're just planning, if you're planning and you're setting up for a shootout, that's way better than just like resorting to a shootout as a last stand without a plan. But if you go into pack and then you plan a shootout at pack, it's so much fun because it brings a total another aspect of us trying to breach pack, and shootouts inside pack are super fun and super intense. So the 10 cops, I'm down with like turning it down a little bit. But again, this goes back to people putting it, like, you got to think about it this way. People in real life, like if you're planning a heist, it's not as simple as people in RP are gonna do it. You're not gonna just go in, get a hostage, rob it, get in your car, dip. If you have an escape plan, like I said, I'm speaking from experience. It's not me just telling you and never trying this before. I would say almost 90% of my heists that I've done on my crim, on Aziz, they've all had an escape plan. And I would say my success rate on Aziz not being caught, I would say it's about 9%. I think 9 times out of 10 I'm getting away when I'm doing a escape plan. So it really goes down to like how much effort you want to put into a heist. So that's my main issue. Is people not putting efforts into heists, because I know for a fact, and I'm, like I said, speaking from experience, if you put in an effort into one heist, it's gonna go your way, unless, you know, scuffs happen, which do, you know, with somebody code zeros, but people, like, cops will let you work around that. So I said 90%, but yeah. All right, anyone have anything to add for that? I think Pete wants to say something, or Red, if you want to say something before, go ahead.
Yeah, if I can add to that, when we say make a plan, don't have your plan be, we're going to shoot out the cops' tires and drive away. That's not a plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, like come up with an actual way to get away from the cops. And if it fails, have a backup plan. If you're smart enough to have a backup plan. If your character's smart enough, you know. But, you know, you want to just shoot at the cops, that's not going to work. I think that's been established. How many times have people tried to get in shootouts with the cops? How many times have people lost in that sort of a circumstance? Stop doing it. It doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Kenley in your chat brings up a really good point too, that bringing the cop numbers down too much could also just cause the criminals to get away for free, because then if you don't have enough cops to chase after all the cars, then you're kind of in a situation where at least one person from the crim side is going to get away every time.
All right, I'm gonna let Pooh speak first, and then Nikolai, you can go after that. Max, go ahead.
I don't really have much to add, but yeah, with adding, you can lower the max cops. That won't affect it too much, but lowering the minimum will really make it kind of unbalanced and people get away for free. I don't have a problem with lowering to the max amount of cops in a scene, but lowering the min like any more than it is, because the min for most of them are 3 or to 4.
Yeah.
Will make it really just really too easy for the crims to get away, because there just simply won't be enough cops.
Yeah, it is minimum 1, 2. Like for ATMs, it's 1 for minimum. House robberies, there's no minimum. It's 0, but max is 2. Cruisers, 24/7 is minimum 2. Jewelry's minimum 3. Fleeka's 4. Polito's 5. And honestly, I don't think the minimums are ever satisfied. So sometimes we might just only have 5 cops, and all of them will just go. So I guess that's the minimum. But if we have less, sometimes people will go to it. Again, pack standards minimum is 5. Yada's minimum 4. But yeah, we can lower. I would say we can lower the max to like 1 or 2 tops. Nothing more than that. Then it will be. I think it'll be imbalanced. But yeah, Nikolai, you can go ahead.
I'm pretty sure the numbers for the max tops are actually wrong. Because when I was assistant chief, we lowered pack to 8 max and we made it 10-13. There's able to be 9 total on scene. That includes the officer down, so they can add 1 extra unit to that.
So, when we had our little meeting, I brought it up. Not the meeting we just had, the one like 2 months ago. I brought up that we should change pack down to 8 and lower the crim number maybe down to 7 or down to 6. And I mean, it just got denied right away. But I really think that if the pack goes down to like an 8 cop thing, you'll see that hit more. Because at the end of the day, obviously the criminals want to get away. But like, I feel like having 10 cops there is a little absurd.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
We've
And
always
with,
said that 8 is max on scene. No one's ever said 9. I think we've always been under the impression that it's 8 no matter what.
yeah, and the
Um,
Polito is also
um,
messed up. You could rob Polito with 4 cops on.
Yeah, I just don't think those numbers have been updated in a long time. To
Yeah.
be fair, for at least the cop side of stuff.
I just think this is like a little bit off topic, but I think dropping the maximum number of criminals for anything to 6 from 8 to 6 would be like a little more beneficial, even 5, because like
Have you ever
see.
seen a pack? Sorry.
Go ahead.
You
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Have you ever seen a pack where there's 8 crims inside?
It's fucked. Like it's crazy.
No, never. I mean, I haven't personally. When I've done probably 5 or 6 packs on this server, and I've only done it with 5 people every single time, just 5 people. That's with getaway plans, maybe not shootouts inside the pack, but like, I've never seen cop, crim, whatever. I've never seen more than 5 people rob it, for me at least.
I suppose also the cut that you get when you split it up is only gets smaller and smaller the more people you
The more
add.
people,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So like,
aren't you?
people try to keep it at 5 because I think you get it's like in between 350k and 400k for robbing a pack. So like, if you have 8 people there, I mean, the cut just gets smaller and smaller. But I mean, it's a big bank. You should be getting like, everyone should still be getting at least 40k for robbing a pack, even if it is 8 people doing it. Which I don't think right now that's how it is. You have max amount.
Yeah, and then that just brings us back to the point of maining RP, like having RP be the main thing instead of just wanting to just get money. You know,
Yeah.
like people got to realize that money is money in a server. You don't stop getting so scared of losing your money in the server. Like it's so easy to bring it back. Like you can just do a couple jobs and you get the money that you lost. Also, with people worrying so much about money, people are starting to save a lot of money, and then a lot of people have so much money in their banks right now that they don't even have the motivation to do anything. Like, why rob a bank? I already have enough money. I already have all the cars that I need. And that's another issue that we have. Go ahead.
So
Jared.
Hopefully the updated fines will help with this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking a
Yes.
lot lately.
Actually, there has been an MDT update that has rolled out. I worked on that with Mano. We've increased the fines and times for all felonies, including new charges, which include illegal weapon and vehicle modifications.
Yeah, and hopefully that helps with the economy of people, losing money so they can get the motivation to start wanting to make more money, especially criminals.
Yeah, and there's definitely a few fines or a few charges that will carry a 50k fine and the 9s, regardless of how you do it.
Well,
So
looking into the past as well, like how I brought up previously, there was a bit of scuff involved with pack standard in particular. On top of that, previously, the cops allowed crims to keep all of their jewelry and money and all that stuff. That's not happening anymore. So, that will incentivize people to come up with better strategies to get themselves out of the situation after the fact.
Yeah, I like that you bring that up because a lot of the time the cops feel bad in a way that they caught the crims, where it's like at the end of the day,
Shouldn't feel bad, man.
yeah, and I don't mean to sound like an asshole here, but like they really shouldn't, right? That's the RP. They got caught, and we can't let them just keep everything because it hurts more than it helps, right? Because it ends up hurting the economy over time. Because if you get caught and you keep all the stuff, then you're just going to keep making all the money. Then you're going to be like, oh, I have $1 million in my bank account. I have no reason to rob anything.
Yeah, we end up in a position like we are right now.
And
exactly what you just
back to
explained.
the economy, I know this firsthand, people aren't going, like, they're robbing some, they're going to clean. I know people who have 500k dirty just sitting in their pink cage. Like, nobody's, like, a lot of people have the money, their accounts are high, and then they have this large amount of dirty money as well.
And then they don't want to do anything with it. There's nothing to do with it.
There really is. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a car? I mean, obviously, it would be beneficial to buy a house, but with the not knowing if stuff's going to poof away right now, people aren't doing that. But
there's ways to use cash. And the way I use
absolutely.
cash is I pay other people to do my bidding, to do Nunzio's bidding.
Yeah.
Like, I bought
Right, but also
Bruce's
you got the
24/7 for
he bought it for
$450,000. I didn't need that money, so I might as well have the 24/7 right across the street from my club. Like, It's money. It's a
You've
game.
also got the new custom heists and stuff, which are going to be going at like massive price tags as well. So
Yeah.
that will be something for the
This-
higher end bank accounts as well.
Am I allowed to say how much this went for? This one though.
You can say it later, but
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
you have a club? Has it ever opened? Tanker.
I don't know. Connor has it.
If they get
Okay,
their
okay,
safe
okay.
out of there, it will be.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
cut everybody short because we're
Ladies.
we're going 30 over.
minutes.
Yeah, we're going over. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna read a couple chats and then I want you guys to think of a solution. What is one thing we can do to incentivize more robberies? Take a minute while I read chat. Think about it, and then I'll start. And then people can start unmuting to talk. Like I said, in community meeting, community voted for 8. I'm pretty sure 4 was the options. I really think, because watching, the thing is about dropping the number of criminals from 8 to 4, which is what Chris is saying. I think that would be a great idea if people really valued RP more than getting whatever they get from robberies and stuff like that. Because you watch NoPixel and they have the 4-man rule, and then you're watching like the best RPers on NoPixel. We're really like a new server with like a lot of people that are not really experienced with RP, so we're not going to get the same quality of RP. That's why I don't think like just having 4 would be super beneficial to us. It would be great for us that love how to RP, love the RP and have a high quality of RP, but the people that do this just to rob and have minimal RP, it's not going to be fun for them at all. That's why I was saying if we just drop it from 8 to 6 at least, or 5, like not even 4, just like 5 or 6, it would be great, So that's like one solution to me that could be better. So yeah, I don't know about that. What you guys think about that? 6, I think 6 would be great.
I think go
That
Pete.
is an
No,
interesting,
you're
yeah.
I like the 4, to be honest with you. Like you say, how most of us are like new to the RP.
Yeah.
I think if we drop it down to 4, where these servers, I mean, at the end of the day, you want your server to be the best. NoPixel's the best. There's no
Yeah.
lie to that. You
At
bring
the
the
same time,
number
we don't want to
down
copy
to.
them word for word.
I mean, we're not copying them word for word. We're just, 4 people, like in a gang war, 4 people. That's how they do it. A
That's cool.
robbery, 4 people. I mean, maybe that'll get more people like to the point where we want to be. Where I don't really know where I'm going with it now, but
No, I can add on to what you're saying, but I kind of disagree with you in a way. I think 4 is still too little. I think 6 would be the perfect number.
Yeah, that's what I was
Because
thinking
you got to
too.
think of it this way, right? If we limit it to 4 for all crimes, that would also encompass eventual gang wars. And when there's a gang war on, you're really telling me that the gangs are gonna, okay, only 4 of us can be in. Like
No,
there's
I
normally
would
more.
say gang wars would be different, which this is our next topic, so let's save it for the next topic for gang wars. For me, the 4-man rule would just apply to heists and situations like that.
I
Gang
also think
rules would be different.
I also think a better way to incentivize robbing banks is, I know people don't want to hear this, is nerfing the solo jobs.
I agree 100%.
I like that too. I like
Just
that
nerf
too.
nerf the Rolexes, nerf the drugs, nerf the house I know we already nerfed house robberies because they were given too much of everything, but I think we can go in and fine tune it a little bit more.
I hate this-
will add.
Let's make this
Eli,
quick.
before you were just saying make like jobs 4 and then gang numbers different. Yeah,
Yeah.
we tried that and it just didn't work because the rest of the gang ended up showing up anyway when
Okay.
things didn't go their way. Yeah, that's why they are the same number right now.
Okay. Sigrun is saying you're gonna kill the entire EU player base if we do for the solo thing.
Yeah.
Which is
I was just about to bring that up.
yeah. Go
there
ahead,
is
Red. Yeah.
a large amount of our player base enjoy the fact that they
Very valid
can
point.
be solo. They don't have to join a group to be anything. There are EU players, there's Australian players that play late at night. I know there's a bunch of West Coast players that play ridiculous hours, right? They play EU hours basically.
The Outlaws, for example.
Yeah. They play they play the individual game. They're not super interested in the whole gang mentality and the gang RP. They'll do it, but it needs to be fair for them, and they find it's easier to not be fair by playing the hours that they do. So I don't know. That's mixed emotions on that one. If you want to lower individual income, for people. I feel that that will drive away half of our player base, but in the same breath, we've got the same issues with gangs not being able to make money together. So yeah.
Yeah, Raheem brought
mixed
up a good
emotions.
point. He said, is it possible to have the jobs as normal during the EU player times, and then when a lot of cops are on, nerf them? Or would that be too much? Nikolai,
Well,
if
then
Nikolai's here.
our whole player base will just transfer to EU time, right?
That's our issue, because that just brings us back to the issue where people are valuing money more than RP. Like, even if you're on your own, you're not really RPing. You're just playing a game, which is like, I guess, good for you. It's us as a new server, and then trying to grow our population. We kind of have to cater to that at first, but then once we are a bigger server, we can like start doing what we want to do. So we gotta just like, I feel like, ride this phase out.
So who are the main EU players? I know we have Forzek, and then after that, we have Luca.
Sigrun in my
Wish,
chat, he's EU.
Sigrun.
Outlaws.
Yeah,
That was
Tanker, it shouldn't be
her-
about the money. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was our West Coast, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're West Coast, but they play
EU
EU time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play
So-
crackhead hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, for the EU
wanna
guys
win.
that get
win.
on early, for the last, I can't even remember, week, 2 weeks, I've been trying to get on during the day so he has something to do so he could feel more involved. So, like, by saying that you're gonna eliminate the EU player base by nerfing the solo jobs, that's not true. We average like 15 people during the day, and normally 3 cops during the day. And then once restart happens, they're normally still on for another like hour or 2 after restart. And then
Yeah.
after that, we have like 6 or 7 cops, so they could literally do anything.
Yeah,
So
okay,
if they
okay,
want
yeah,
to do the small bank and then a big bank in a day, they really can, because there's been 3 cops on during the day the last week and a half. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you off, and then Sigrun brought up a good point, or a good solution, I guess, which I think we should put through the vote, is if we want to nerf the solo jobs, I suggest we nerf it at 3 cops. So that way, once there are 3 cops, you can do a lot of other robberies, and I feel like that's a good way if we can do it. I don't know if we can. Dev wise, I know Push in chat, so if you can respond to that, Nikolai is deaf, and so I guess
Push an
he's not
eco
here.
question.
So yeah, I feel like if there's 3 cops on, then nerf the solo job so that people will want to rob more, and then, you know, if there's no cops, just leave them the way it is. And Animated wants to say something. I'm gonna just let Animated say something, and we're gonna switch because we're running, you know, out of time.
I think we should cut the gang
I also want to
questions.
say as a comment to that, we don't want to nerf it too much. Like, say, we can't guarantee every day there's going to be at least 3 active cops on duty. So if we nerf it to where, yeah, there's minimum have to be 3 on duty, and that entire day 3 cops aren't on duty, that's just kind of blocking people from doing the solo jobs.
I wouldn't really block, because we're nerfing it to where we're not saying nerf it to where you don't get anything, but like decrease it to where you would want to rob something else rather than do the solo job.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was also been in discussion, and I don't know if it's more of a database thing or just changing the table and the dev side of things, that we can change the payout for the jobs depending on how many cops are on. So it's been in the talks. It just requires a further conversation.
I
So
do feel like that's a ridiculous way to fix an
I
issue
also, yeah.
with RP. It's not with money.
Yeah,
We're telling people
I would think so.
by enforcing this and allowing people to rob houses and do the USB job when there's less cops on, incentivizes not getting caught, right?
Yeah,
It's incentivizing. Yeah, I think that's the wrong play. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're talking about RP. We're not talking about how much money I have in my bank account. It's RP. Like we brought it up earlier.
yeah,
when
and I
Sam
wish people
brought
think
his
like
2
that,
cents
honestly.
in. It's RP. You're gonna lose. Look at my crim. You go to my crim. How many charges do I have? I may have the most charges in the city out of everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's the RP. Like I don't know. I won't get into it because it's kind of upsetting.
All right, I think we we push it to the vote to where, see if people in the server want that to happen. If we could nerf solo jobs when there's 3 cops on, 3+ cops. I think we should move that to the voting phase. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't think it should move to a vote at all.
Why is that?
because we haven't discussed it nearly enough. That's a pretty major server change, right? Yeah.
So you guys discuss it in like, I don't know. This is me just thinking mod and admin chat. Like, what you have to like bring it to the players too to like have a say in the matter that are getting changed. You know?
Yeah. Well, we've got 3 other admins apart from me and another mod here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then you have what? 2 average players. Me and
Yeah.
me and Eli. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can throw it up to a vote, but
we can't.
This is
Listen,
also
I'm
something
gonna.
to see that
we gotta move
staff
on.
is
Yeah.
going to
This is
agree on,
yeah.
People-
We have.
something I need to say about votes is
Yeah, that's all the votes that we
people
put. Second
think
are gonna
that
go through
votes
the
are
main Discord, and then
final,
everybody will
and
vote.
that's what's going to happen after a vote is made.
No.
Understand that we will use a vote and it's information that comes from it,
No, second. Anything we
make a
say, whenever I
decision
say
on what we
vote,
should do as a
it's to
server.
the whole server.
but those decisions from those votes will not be final. Understand that, so don't get let down when things do or do not happen.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Alright.
A good way to put it. We can decide that if we want to put it to vote. But next, since we're like really running out of time, the next big issue that I want to talk about is gang activities, gang wars, and the lack thereof. I think I'm just gonna make this really quick. I'm gonna just give out the solution. I think we should start making people pay for what's it called, for pink cage, a daily amount, so that one, it would help the economy for people to have a lot of money and they start paying. Second, we need to fix player houses so that people would want to own more houses, and then so that gangs can spread out away from pink cage, because everybody's right now, it's the whole pink cage thing, and the way it's free and you can put anything, it's reliable. It's really like it's a super big hotspot now, and everybody is just there. And everybody, when you're hanging around somebody for so long, you're just gonna become friends. That's just the way it is, you know. So everybody's buddy now, and it's really like limiting the gang RP too much, between the hostility between gangs, and nothing's really happening between the gangs. If we spread out, if we let people have their turfs and all that, and then more conflict can happen, and then more gang wars can happen, and then, you know, gang gang activity can happen more, and that in itself would also increase cop RP. Because, you know, and we haven't had anything to do in GIU for so long because gangs aren't really doing that much, like anything at all. So what do you guys think about that?
Something for that you could do, I think Push could probably answer it, this is a little bit above me, is we could, when you buy the apartment, it gives a date, and the longer you have the apartment, the more it charges. So it goes up like exponentially. So like if you bought the apartment, you know, you have it free for a few weeks, and then it goes up in price over a range of dates.
That doesn't make sense in my opinion.
So you think people should just have a free apartment to store stuff and not spread out?
No.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I
have a
think it
free
makes sense
apartment. I'm
to-
saying like have it increase over time.
Yeah, so it incentivizes you to have somewhere safe to store all your stuff when you're beginning, but it encourages you to move out and spread out instead of just staying at the free place and having that free storage.
I feel like the risk should come from cops investigating the criminals and working out where they live, and working out, like, putting crimes together, and then actually fucking raiding people's places and taking all their shit.
Dude, I've been pushing for raids for so long, dude. Nobody wants to do it.
Seriously.
That's
What we're trying to
Yeah,
do.
and then Aegis says it's an SRT thing and just like completely shuts us off. I'm like, bro, like, we're telling you, we have the information to raid someone. Let's just fucking do it. And Aegis is like, oh, that's SRT.
If
And like,
people can
we're
keep
like,
their
shit.
homes secret by buying somewhere else, they will. It's not the fact that Pink Cage is free. It's the fact that Pink Cage is safe. That is why everyone uses that inventory.
So
I've been using normal houses for inventory for about a month now, and it is 100% safe. I haven't had anything go missing. We do also log all of those, so if stuff does go missing, we will know. On top of that, cops need to be able to start enforcing raiding and taking shit off of people. That's what this boils down to. That will incentivize gangs moving out, and that negates this whole conversation.
Yes, that's literally the easiest fix, I think.
So pretty much everyone in this chat right now is a cop besides Dingo. Where's the first place we go after we lose eyes on someone in the chase?
Pink cage immediately.
Pink
It's like
cage. Pink cage.
And half
And
the time
then
we
The other
find them
thing I'll
there.
add
Yeah.
to that.
So
Yeah, the other-
my proposal for the pink cage is, so you have an apartment, right? You're paying say $1,500 a month. With the way that our economy is, make the pink cage like a monthly charge, like you have with the new owners. Like I'm Route 68 in Galaxy. I just had 120 grand come out of my bank account for owning the businesses and the rent. It needs to be the same exact way for the pink cages. Maybe not that excessive. Maybe like a 10,000, 15,000 a month. But there needs to be a charge for pink cage, so maybe people decide, oh, it's not worth it. Let me just get a house. It's a one-time fee.
Yeah.
Get the house and stuff like that.
I mean, I also think if we want to, I'm going to circle this back to like gangs in general real quick. There's two main things I want to talk about, right? It seems that as of right now, the only real reason that gang wars are being started is just for egotistical purposes, which isn't necessarily the wrong way to do it, right? If someone's going to run their mouth, they should get ready to walk the walk, don't just talk the talk, Tanker also said something in chat that was brought up during the community meeting we had about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, where we want to try, and I don't know how it can be done, is adding a more like a different method to the drugs, where we can add more drugs into the city and maybe give, not like, I don't know how to word this because we're not going to literally like message someone and say, hey, you guys control this now, but do it kind of like a King of the Hill style, where it's not also just like a straight up shooter. Like give the gang something that they can actually own and cause turmoil, right? So for example, like the gangs own this part of cocaine because this is what everyone needs to actually start running cocaine, and that will cause all the other gangs to want to go in and try and overthrow this gang so they can get access to the stuff that they need to run this drug, this, that, or whatever. So I think that we just need to talk more about, and we could do this at a later date because we are running out of time here.
Yeah, we can do another podcast next week because we have a lot to talk about. So
I think we should try and figure out, and if anyone's in the chat right now, like please use the ideas channel in our Discord. I don't like, people use it, but don't think it gets overlooked. We see everything and we talk about everything that gets brought in there. Just put your ideas in there. We have a huge picture of what we wanted to do for drugs when the server was first, being thought about. Maybe we need to talk about it again and see if it can be done, or if it can't be done. I'm not entirely sure, but I think we need to add more things for the gangs to.
Yeah, let's move the drug talk to next week's podcast. That's actually a good topic. Well, let's move that to next week's. I would say for right now, one thing we could do is dev side. We could completely ignore anything new and fix or shift all your focus on fixing player houses, because everybody's saying they're not reliable and everybody's scared. From what everybody's saying in chat, everybody's saying like house safes are broke. People don't want to start taking pictures, they're scared to lose their stuff. If we can focus on the house UI and safes, and then get that 100% safe, that would be the best thing we could do right now.
Safe. It's just a bad UI.
Of course, that would be easier said than done.
It's more of a database thing, so it would take longer than a lot of people think.
It's just getting the UI that we use for our current inventory system into it.
Yeah, because the database is
it's definitely it's talked about in the dev chat a lot. Trust me, like Blazing definitely wants to get all the inventory switched over to our inventory HUD. I think even Putch was saying stuff about doing his method of it. Like it's constantly talked about in the dev chat.
All right, then let's just do that. Let's just focus on that, because that's everybody's main issue right now. If we do that, it could make a lot of things better. Then we can like get rid of this freaking pink cage stupid shit, bro. I'm so tired of like pink cage being such a big hotspot, and then the cops get scared of going to pink cage, and then every time a robbery happens, all the cops just go check pink cage, and then we find the people at pink cage. It's so like stale and dumb to me that everybody just hangs around pink cage.
Pink cage should be a startup.
Another thing I would want to see too is people stop thinking that pillbox is safe from the cops. There is other ways for you to get healed in the city, so pillbox should not be safe if you go there and the cops see you. If the cops sit at a hospital, then they can sit at a hospital and wait for you. There's
now that there are other ways
for you to do it. Yes.
Yeah. Now that there are other ways to.
All right, 2-minute warning. We'll end in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Red.
Yep. Yeah. So. Would have seen me in your chat there for a minute. Trunks are 100% safe. Houses are 100% safe. Pink cage is 100% safe at this time. We have not had things go missing from any of those things in 4 weeks, I want to say.
Yeah,
The only housing that we have had issues with is like the apartment style buildings. So like Eclipse Towers, Maze Bank, those sorts of apartment style housings, we've had issues with items missing altogether from them and then coming back a day or two later after a couple of restarts.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
that's the only ones. Honestly, we need to remove that housing because it's the only not safe housing that we have. Apart from that, I think you guys already discussed it.
Horsepower.
Just a UI update on the normal housing, so we can swap over to just click and drag items instead of entering numbers. And oh my god, the trauma from doing this is.
Yeah, I think that's all good. I was gonna say something I totally forgot. Anybody have anything else to add before I close this off?
Yeah, I was gonna add before the reason that Pink Cage, when the city first started, Pink Cage cost, I think it was like
30,000. Yeah, 30,000.
Yeah,
30,000.
30,000. Yeah. The reason it became free was because at the time it was the only safe storage
Yep, I
in the
remember that.
entire city.
I remember that. Yep.
So now we have other options. We've updated the database for the trunks that we haven't had anything go missing in them. Pink Cage is still safe. I feel like we do need to add a price to that. Houses are safe. They just need a UI update, and then it's all logged. So if you do have anything go missing, if anything like that, bring it up with the bot. We have logs. We can look through it.
Yeah.
Tankers, so I arrested Turbo the other day for a house robbery. He had a bunch of like drugs and shit on him. The fine was like 40-ish K. I think the possession time needs to go down because right now they're meant to be stacked. So you get a ×1 charge for every joint or whatever you have on you. And right now they're like 10 months a piece. I think it needs to be lowered to like 2 months a piece. Because they are like I said, they are meant to be stacked. But
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Same with the credit cards too, right? They stack too, don't they?
Yeah, all the possession charges I think need to
You
be
have
lowered
40
by
fucking
a
cards.
considerable amount because we should be charging like for how much you have. So if you have 5 joints, you're gonna get possession of an illegal drug ×5. But like I said, the fines and stuff for that have like been increased. Like possession, because he had like 10 different kinds of he had meth lace joints ×5 and oxy ×5, and those are 1,500 for oxy per and 1,000 for the joints each. So I mean, stuff adds up.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that done then.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody. We're gonna wrap this up. Get that, or just everybody mute so I don't have to do it. Okay. One more thing. I'm just gonna say a quick thing before I end this off. You can, if you're scared about like safes and all that. I remember when I first started playing GTA or RP. I never had a house for the longest time, and I used to just store all my stuff in like mules and rumpos. So that's still an option for everybody. You can just literally, you don't even have to, if you want to move away from Pink Cage before like we try to fix the UI and stuff, which hopefully will be the main thing to fix for now. Just literally get a rumpo or something and put yourself there. That's completely fine. But yeah, anyways, thank you everybody for that tuned in. I think it was a successful podcast, even though this is the first one. This is just like a trial thing. I didn't put a time limit on people talking, so I just wanted to see how long we'll go without a time limit on for next week. And then forward, I'm going to be putting time limits on everybody talking. So this will be a lot more organized, and we'll have time for people in chat more. And if anybody wants to come in from chat and talk about it, that'd be completely fine. You could do that. But again, thank you. I think this was a very productive podcast. We talked about a lot of stuff. I'm thinking since we have a lot more to talk about, we'll do this weekly. And then, yeah, we'll just go from there. So thank you again. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Stay tuned for the biggest heist ever after right now.
Also,
And
if you're a cop, get on duty right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a cop, I'm on
there's 3
vacation.
on duty.
Yeah, so
Well, if you're gonna do it, just get on duty for this, like real quick.
yeah, you guys have a fantastic day. Drop a like and subscribe if you're watching from YouTube. And yeah. Peace.